Welcome back to Tiny TV. Right now I'm sitting at Nick Cave's desk in Nick Cave's office in Copenhagen, Denmark. And this is not a prop, as I've said before. This is Nick Cave's real office. The reason why it's here in Copenhagen is because the Royal Danish Library, the Black Diamond, hosts a Nick Cave exhibition called Stranger Than Kindness.
The pieces of you spin apart. A million little histories propelling themselves away at a tremendous rate.
And this exhibition is full of memorabilia, all kinds of small notebooks, typewriters, everything that is Nick Cave. Walking through this exhibition feels like walking not only through the soul of the artist Nick Cave, but the embodiment of him. There are so many things here, and it's such a cool exhibition. It's actually the best exhibition of any musician I have ever seen in my life. So, throughout this week, I've been giving you excerpts of the Nick Cave press conference that was here in Copenhagen back in 2020. But today, we're going to do it a bit differently because I have the head of this exhibition right here by my side. Christina, welcome to Tiny TV.
Thank you.
First off, everyone needs to know, how did this whole project start? Because it's so massive. There are many rooms with many different things where you see the various lives of Nick Cave. How did you come up with this idea to begin with?
It actually goes way back because I have been working with artists for 20 years to create exhibitions that was like a narrative where the exhibition is not just presenting dead stuff, but is a work of art on its own premises. And I was looking for somebody new to collaborate with. And I knew of Nick Cave. I have been to some concerts and I was really curious about him as a storyteller, both in his music and his lyrics and his books, but also in the way that he have presented himself throughout his more than 40-year life career. So I reached out to him and say, hey, should we make an exhibition? And he said no.
He didn't want that.
No, I mean, he was reluctant because he was not really interested in making a big biographic exhibition about himself. I don't think he sees himself as nostalgic by nature. And so he was really not looking for that where he was in his creative life. But I convinced him to come and visit us here in Copenhagen, and he saw that we were working with exhibition in a very different way, and he got curious.
Well, one of the things that I love about this exhibition is that you can touch absolutely everything. If you want to, you can actually write on Nick Cave's typewriter, which is just really amazing to me. But coming back to this thing of the nostalgic, that he says, I'm not a nostalgic person, and he said it at the press conference we had here in the Royal Danish Library as well, then you must wonder, where does all this stuff come from? Because if you're not a nostalgic person, why do you keep notebooks from 95 with Kylie Minogue's phone number on page 5? Where does all this stuff come from? And how did it get here?
I mean, it was spread throughout the world because it wasn't Nick that collected it. It was his mother, Dawn Cave. It was the Art Centre Melbourne, who we collaborated with, that have a big Nick Cave archive. And it was his wife, Susie Cave, who made sure to keep all of this stuff. So a part of creating the exhibition was really to dive into this and find the things, because there was not one place to go where we could look at everything. It sort of appeared when we started digging.
But that must have taken years almost.
Yeah, no, we did it in rock and roll time. So so we did it quite fast. I mean, from our perspective, I think we worked for 1.5 years, which is really, really fast to do a big exhibition like this. And it was a journey where we worked creatively with Nick to develop the spaces and the narrative of the exhibition while standing in containers in Brighton and finding stuff in boxes that nobody had looked at for years. So it was a very different process than what we're used to.
So when you just started setting up the exhibition here with the various rooms that covers everything from his school years in Australia and up to the birthday party years in London and Berlin, and ending with the Ghost Teen record, it's all of his life. In these rooms, how much input has Nick come with himself? I mean, has he been like a guy walking around saying this should be there, this should be there, or did you get free hands to do what your vision was?
I mean, Nick have been really, really involved, but it was also a process to get there. You don't start with that, and you don't invite him in and say, "Would you spend a lot of time with us to do this?" But he found his way into it, and he came more and more involved, both in the curating, the design, the soundscape that he created with Warren Ellis. So he was here and he was creating it together with us. But at the same time, the collaboration was also really full of trust. It is quite... I mean, I don't think that I have seen any exhibition where an artist like that is opening up to anything. So there was no limits to what we could dig into. And when we look at the office here that is so full of stuff, it is really very trustful to hand over your uncensored office to us like that.
And it is uncensored. I've been at this exhibition for quite a few times now, and there was one time I was here when I found Nick Cave's driver's license just lying there. I mean, an old driver's license, of course, and I was almost inclined to say, like, is anybody gonna miss this if I take it? Like, are you a thief, Anders? Oh, stop yourself. But for me, as a huge Nick Cave fan, I've been following him ever since I was a teenager and he released the album Murder Ballads. This exhibition is very much the soul of the artist, but also a peek inside the private person that is Nick Cave. So for me, it represents everything that I love about his music and his poetry and his art. But what does it represent for Nick Cave himself? Because now all of his stuff is here. How does he see this exhibition? Is it a work of art for him as well?
Yeah, that's how he describes it, that what it came to be. I mean, again, it was a journey and we couldn't start with that, but it became a work of art in its own right, and he sees it like that. And it is, I guess it reflects very well how Nick Cave is normally also sharing himself. It's sort of both very personal, but he's also a storyteller. So it's a mix of fiction and biography merged in together and creating something very new from that.
I bet that everybody looking at this exhibition sees it in a different way, and people have various favorite places in the exhibition because there's so many corners you can turn and chairs you can sit on, and you can even sit at his piano playing if you want to do that. For me, as a fan, one of my favorite rooms we're sitting in right now, this is the office room, but then also the circus tent that you have, which is going back to the birthday party days, the Boys Next Door days, is one of my favorite places. How about you? You are the head of this exhibition. Do you have like your own favorite little corner?
I think, like you, I mean, the office is really the heart of the exhibition, and that is also how Nick talks about it. So, of course, the office is one of my favorite places, but I think that the exhibition consists of 8 rooms, and each room is very, very different and holds its own narrative. And I think, so for me, every room has something. And besides the office, something like the whole way of gratitude that is entirely curated by Nick himself. It consists of 15 small tableaus where he touch upon things that is important for him. I think that's a very beautiful and sort of a space that is almost like meditative in its presence, so very different from the chaos of the office.
I bet that this interview and the videos I've been doing from the press conference will be watched by many Nick Cave diehard fans and people who have seen him on stage many times, but never closer than the stage. You've met him, you've lunched with him, you've worked with him. I mean, he's on speed dial on your mobile phone. Last time we did an interview for the Danish Broadcasting Corporation that I worked for, Nick Cave called in the middle of the interview, and I was a little fanboy sitting like, what is Nick Cave saying? But perhaps you can reveal a bit about right now in 2021 for the fans. Where is Nick Cave? Does he seem at peace, or is he more in the erratic work mode, dying to release new music? How's he doing?
I think I need to step back, because I think that the exhibition is a part of the journey that have been going on throughout some years after the death of his son Arthur, where he sort of leaned into a different expression, also with the Red Hand files and with the In Conversation format, and now with the exhibition he moved into a very, from my perspective, a very sort of honest relation with especially his fans. He's sort of putting himself out there in a very different way, and I think that journey is moving forward. He just the other day announced that he's coming out with a new album now.
Carnage.
And and I must say, I mean, I'm just as curious as anybody to see what is the next step, what is coming after a record like Ghosteen. And I think that maybe we will know a bit more about what the future brings when we hear that. But I think that the journey he is on now and have been for quite some years is what will continue. I think if you move into that very honest space, it's hard to go back from there, isn't it?
It is a very honest space, and I must admit, for me as a Nick Cave fan, I've always seen him as this dark, mysterious lord of poetry and song. And from my perspective, I actually liked that he was a bit secluded, a bit like behind a shroud of mystery in some way. So when he opened the Red Hand files, I didn't go to check it out for a long time, because it was like, I don't want this guy to open up. I want him to be mysterious, and I want his music to be the only thing, and his poetry and words, of course, to be the only thing that's representative of the private Nick Cave. But how do you like this new open Nick Cave? I mean, is it cool to be around? Is it fun to be around?
Yeah, it's very fun. I mean, the process of working with him have been wonderful. He's very kind. He's very curious by nature, which I think also made it easy for him to engage with a format like an exhibition and be playful with how an exhibition could look like from his perspective. But I think he's still mysterious. I think we shouldn't kid ourselves. I mean, there is, even though there is a lot of honesty and it's a different way compared to 15 or 20 years ago, I think he's still very mysterious. And I like that too. I think it's a part of his creative expression maybe. And I don't think that have changed.
One of the things that is mysterious in this exhibition is sometimes when you walk around and you pick up any given book or any given little notebook and you flip through the pages, suddenly you see something that's underlined with a red pen, or he has written a note for it, and you start to wonder, like, why did he underline especially that line in this thick book, you know? And you've told me that he's obviously been at this exhibition quite a few times, and he likes to walk around here looking at the things himself and then just make small changes or underline stuff. What's that about?
Yeah, I think that an exhibition in this scale and that is so personal, it keeps developing. I mean, every time he will come here, he will sort of come across things that he edits, and that's a part of the lovely thing about the project, that he can actually do that, and especially in the office, that is his stuff. So I think that's really something that also makes the exhibition really interesting, that it can continue to develop, and he can continue to make his small marks.
Yeah, it's a developing work of art in process.
It is. Yeah.
One of the things about this exhibition, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. It was supposed to open in the midst of the corona pandemic lockdown in Denmark. And then, of course, it was moved to a alternative opening date, and you opened the exhibition. People came in, got lots of praise from the Danish press and foreign press, etc. And then the restrictions hit us again, and there's a new lockdown in Denmark, so the exhibition is closed for now, but hopefully
knock on wood,
it will open up soon again. But honestly, what are the future perspectives for this exhibition? I mean, if there's anybody sitting out there thinking, I want to go to Copenhagen and see this exhibition, will it open again before it shuts down, or do you know what's the future of all these things?
I mean, I really, really hope that we'll be able to open it again, and we're doing our best here at the Royal Danish Library to sort of path the way for that to happen. So I'm really sure that we'll be in a situation where we can open it again, so that at least the Danish fans that haven't been here can come, and maybe even our neighbor countries. And then we must see what the future brings. They haven't been announced a tour, but it could happen.
For the end here, I know that you're also involved in the Cave's new online project, Cave Things. And as I've said earlier, you're quite close to the man. So I'm curious, as a music journalist, the new album Carnage, have you heard it? What do you think we can expect? Give me something.
I haven't heard it. He's keeping it close.
I thought so. Damn mysterious man.
Yeah.
So, Christina, any closing words that I have not spoken about in the Stranger Than Kindness exhibition? Because, I mean, we can dive down in so many details here, but have we covered the rooms and described what needs to be described?
Yeah, I think so. I think that one thing that is just important for me to emphasize with the exhibition is that it's really created as what you would call a multi-sensuous experience. So that means that how you move around in the space, how the soundscape is infiltrating the visual presence of whatever is put into the spaces. Everything is thought in. So it's not dead things on display. It is really a immersive experience, I would say. That's the feedback that we get, and that's what we were hoping to create, basically.
Well, you definitely did create a piece of art in the Nick Cave legacy, and I thank you so much for that.
Thank you for your time. Pleasure. You're welcome.
Thanks again for watching Tiny TV. If you enjoy the content that I do, please do consider subscribing to this channel. Push the like button. If you like what I do, share it with the world. If you don't like it, tell it to me. And then I'll see you next time for some more great music content. And remember, the whole Nick Cave press conference will be online on Tiny TV this week.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Mette Heibel. I'm from Denmark's Radio. It's an honor to meet you. It will be very natural, I think, to start asking you about this exhibition. What are your thoughts on it? I think it started out as being sort of a normal exhibition, and then it grew into sort of a work in itself, a Nick Cave installation. How do you feel when you walk around it in yourself?
I'm really amazed by the whole thing, to be honest. It was something that I didn't want to do in the first place. I got approached by Christina Back, and it was one of many offers that come in for me to do stuff. And to do an exhibition was the last thing I wanted to do. I'm not nostalgic in any way. I'm not interested in my past particularly. So the whole thing just seemed like a dead idea. And then I did a concert in Copenhagen, and Christina came backstage, and we started talking. She proposed something that was beyond an exhibition, and she just sort of drew me in, little bit by little bit, and eventually Christina came to London, and my wife, who is a pathological hoarder of things, a collector, had over the last 20 years or so just kept everything, and put them into storage containers, which I didn't really know about. And so we went down to these storage containers and opened them up, and there was just all this stuff. And Christina got very excited about that. And so we just started to piece together the idea of an exhibition. And I think I kind of stepped away for a bit and allowed Christina and her team to get on with things. And they put together this beautiful thing. And then I kind of got more and more involved in it. And it turned into something beyond an exhibition. I think it starts in a conventional way, and through a series of rooms and a series of ruptures turns into something else entirely different. So I was very, very happy with that, and I went around it yesterday. We finished the exhibition, and then lockdown happened. So this was a very strange experience, because it felt like this beautiful thing was suddenly put in a tomb, like an Egyptian pyramid or something like that, and kind of locked away. And so it was the first opportunity to come here and actually have a look at it yesterday, and I was just blown away by the detail and the energy and the ideas that were put into that. And it's largely due to Christina and her team.